I didn't want to have this conversation like this. But it's time. More and more in the comment section, I see people saying that my reviews are just positive sales pitches. Another theme I see quite often is that all products coming out of China are somehow automatically inferior, cheap and poorly made. That's compared to products from the US, Europe, which is in itself a collection of all different countries, and or the UK. We need to address both of those beliefs, I think. And I've got a couple of products here today to help me do that. Let's begin with the idea that all of my reviews are positive sales pitches full of rainbows and unicorns. Regular viewers of the channel will already know that I've produced plenty of negative and mediocre reviews here. Sure, I might not ruthlessly bash products, but I'll often suggest that you should spend your money elsewhere, and that's not much of an ad. For brand new viewers of the channel who've yet to experience me doing that, as in providing a mediocre review and suggesting you spend your money elsewhere, then today's the day. This is the Arylic LP10. It's a $100 music streamer in much the same vein as a WiiM Mini. I remember turning down reviews of the WiiM Mini when it was first introduced. That was a grave error on my part, given the fantastic features and performance of the WiiM range. And I've often regretted that I wasn't at the forefront of sharing the WiiM range of products with you. On the other hand, the LP10 here reminds me of why I declined the early reviews of the WiiM Mini. This is what I expected the WiiM Mini to be. It feels and looks very cheap. Its features are also quite limited, and its sound is pretty poor. And by the way, Arylic sent me both the LP10 and the A100 that we're going to get to shortly. The A100 is very different from the LP10 in a number of ways, so stick around for that bit. Like any other retailer or manufacturer that sends me a product, Arylic have no influence over this video, and I always feel bad when I have to make a video like this. I do worry that it will damage my relationship with the brand that sent me the product. But I'm also worried that if I don't make such a video, I'm going to damage my own sense of integrity, and more importantly, your trust in me as a reviewer. And so, here we are. As I said, the LP10 cost $100, but it feels like it should cost about $50 to $60. It offers essentially the same features as a WiiM Mini, and a WiiM Mini costs $89. Admittedly, the LP10 does offer a few extra inputs though. The LP10 has an Ethernet socket if you don't want to or can't use Wi-Fi, and it also has a USB-A socket for connecting an external hard drive or thumb drive. I think that's pretty cool. The problem is that whatever you do connect to the LP10 is going to end up sounding pretty mediocre when it spits it out as sound. Now, I don't love the sound of the WiiM Mini, so sound quality is not a big differentiator here. But the WiiM app and interface is miles ahead of what you get with the LP10. Basically, I think of the LP10 as an unfortunately overpriced, substandard version of the WiiM Mini, unless you happen to need Ethernet or a USB-A connection. The optical output from the LP10 produces an okay sound if you're sending therefore the signal out to an external DAC, but the line level output through the 3.5mm socket here is very low level and very mediocre. And so if you do need a simple, compact streamer for a location where what you need is more about the cost and the functionality rather than sound quality, I guess the LP10 could be a decent option, but so could the WiiM Mini, and it costs even less. And that's probably all I need to say about the LP10. I apologise to Arylic that I can't be more positive about it, but I'd be lying to you, the viewers, if I was to be more positive here. And with that said, let's talk a little bit about the A100 from Arylic. It's a much larger streaming amplifier product. I love the idea of streaming amps like the Eversolo Play and the WiiM amp. The A100 is another such product. It's a $239 US Class D 100 watt streamer and power amplifier. Actually, I should say integrated amplifier because it's got the volume on board. It will allow you to stream from internet services. It's got Bluetooth. It's got a line input, a phono input. It's pretty fully featured, and we'll go through all the features in just a moment. But basically, this is offering you much the same features as a WiiM amp, with a few differences, for about $60 US less. I love the WiiM amp, and I think it's a perfect, affordable solution for those that want quick and easy access to music in their life, as kind of a lifestyle product rather than an audiophile critical listening product. Basically, the WiiM amp makes quick and easy access to your music very, very simple, and I'm all for anything that makes access to music and the enjoyment of music easier for anybody. And so if we come back to the A100 for a moment, let's talk about the assumption that all products coming out of China are cheaper and of lesser quality than those from other countries. And to do that, let's briefly compare the A100 here with the WiiM amp I mentioned before. The WiiM amp looks and feels great. It's beautifully designed and it works flawlessly. The A100, as I've already said, is $60 US cheaper than the WiiM amp. Unfortunately, the gap in the design and the finish of the products seems to be more than a $60 US gap. And my point in saying this is not to bash the A100 here. It's actually got a few things going for it that you might really love. My point in saying this is that both the WiiM amp and the A100 here are Chinese products, affordable Chinese products, and yet they look and feel very different, and the interaction and interface is also very different. Inside the A100 here is the TPA3255 Class D amplifier chip. It's the same chip that's used in a whole lot of other affordable and quite good Class D amplifiers. That amp chip is producing 100 watts into 4 ohms from the A100, or for 8 ohms it drops down to 60 watts. That's not exactly earth-shattering power, but it's going to be plenty for most applications. The A100 also uses the ES9023P DAC chip, and it's going to take care of decoding the streamed audio, Bluetooth audio, audio coming in through the optical or coaxial inputs, and of course USB if you've got a USB drive connected up with some local files on it. Speaking of Bluetooth, yes, the A100 will receive Bluetooth, but only in the basic SBC and AAC codecs. There's no aptX HD and no LDAC. It does also have, as I've already mentioned, a phono input for turntables. So if your turntable doesn't have an inbuilt phono stage, this will take care of giving you the extra gain you need. And then I've also mentioned already that it's got USB connections too, one on the front, one on the back. You can plug in a USB hard drive or a thumb drive full of files and play those back through the A100. It's then of course got Wi-Fi and Ethernet for streaming from internet services like Spotify, Cobas, Tidal, and any sort of DLNA connection you can think of, or from local network storage devices such as a NAS drive. It even has a radio tuner for FM radio. And so the A100 does have a feature set that's extremely comprehensive for a product at its price. And that's before I've even mentioned that there's a couple of microphone inputs on the front panel, so you can use the A100 as a karaoke amplifier if you want to. I'm fairly certain there's no other sub $300 streaming amplifier that's going to let you do that. And yet, there's a little bit of a problem. There are lots and lots of features here, but none of them are particularly well implemented. If you're looking at the A100, you need to be looking at it as a fun device for background music, maybe for the kids to play with and have some fun with, or for karaoke parties. If you're after high quality audio, the A100 is not going to be for you. It does work well enough for streaming via third-party apps such as ForStream or Bubble UPnP, or indeed any other DLNA client and server type application, and those will allow you to stream from Tidal, Cobas or Spotify if you want to as well. But the sound you'll get from doing that is just okay. The tonality of the A100 is pretty good. It's fairly neutral or natural. It just lacks a fair bit of definition, especially through the mid-range and down into the bass. There's also no subwoofer output, so you can't even reinforce the bass by adding a subwoofer to your speakers. At least not without using some sort of high-level output connection to your subs using the speaker cables daisy chained from the speakers. I do think it's nice that they've included a display on the A100 to make it a bit more easy to interact with if you don't want to use a remote control of any sort. And it means you've got access to things like the tone controls or the EQ presets, the microphone level adjustments, all from the front panel of the A100. At the same time though, I find that display just keeps reminding me of just how cheap the A100 is. There's no track information available on screen during playback from streaming or from Bluetooth. And if you're streaming via a DLNA app of some sort, it just says other on the screen. They're all little things, but they all serve to reinforce the fairly monumental gap between something like the WiiM amp interface and what you get with the A100. And so, if you do want a fun little amp for outdoor music listening, not that this should be out in the rain, but in under a patio or something, or maybe music in the garage or a kid's playroom, then the A100 could be a fun little device. It does everything it intends to do fairly well. Just don't buy it for audiophile levels of enjoyment. Buy it as a fun all-in-one amplifier that can do karaoke if that's what you care about. If you're looking for sound quality, you're better off just spending $60 more and getting the WiiM amp. Once again, my sincere apologies to Arylic that I can't be more positive about these products. But there's just such strong competition right at the same price point that these don't really stack up to me. I think they do have a place in certain situations, and that's why I will put links in the description down below in case you need something like this. But I can't really recommend either of them. Instead, if you're in the market for some streaming products to make it easier for you to access music in your life, then watch the pinned video here at the end where I go through my favourite streaming products at every different budget level, from budget all the way through to premium, and including all-in-one streaming amplifiers similar to the A100 here. So watch that pinned video next. But for now, a huge thanks to YouTube channel members, also to channel Patreon members, and of course to those of you who leave super thanks on videos like this one. And until next time, happy listening, be kind to each other, and I'll see you here again soon on Passion for Sound.